We had a very exciting night of basketball on the final day of Commissioner's Cup games. We're going to talk about the Commissioner's Cup and that the Indiana Fever and the Minnesota Lynx will play for the cash. But first, the drama from Tuesday night, because it was aplenty. Obviously, the headline, the biggest drama came in the Indiana-Connecticut game. A lot of intensity, especially from the tip. These teams had met before. It was the game that Caitlin Clark missed, that Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson were injured early, and that the Connecticut Sun stole from the Fever. Caitlin Clark and Jacy Sheldon go way back to their days in the Big Ten. Jacy Sheldon played for Ohio State, a program that didn't exactly like Iowa at the time, two of the top programs. And so these two players were chippy throughout the nights. It escalated in the third quarter when there was an issue between them, a hard foul by Jacy Sheldon. Caitlin fell to the floor. Marina Mabrey stepped in and shoved Caitlin. A lot of chatter about how Marina Mabrey probably should have been ejected for that to quell some tensions, for the refs to get things under control, but that did not happen. The game continued to be played at a physical pace until the final minute when Sophie Cunningham committed a hard foul on Jacy Sheldon that honestly looked more like a wrestling move. But that kind of emptied the benches, and both of these teams went at it. This has been a long-standing thing for the Fever. Stephanie White talked about it after the game, how refs had let the game get out of control. This has been a thing all year for them, where teams are going to play them physically. And as anyone who has a toddler knows, you have to set boundaries, or else someone is going to keep testing it, as these players should, because they want to win a game. So they're going to keep being more and more physical as it is allowed. This is not just a Fever issue. This is in most games every single night. We heard Olivia Nelson-Ododa talk about that. We've heard players in the past talk about the physicality and how fouls are not being called and not being called consistently. Now let's talk about Commissioner's Cup, because this is a big deal for Indiana. Caitlin Clark had 20 points, 6 assists, 2 steals, and went 4 of 6 from the three-point line to lead Indiana in the win. Coupled with New York's win over Atlanta, it forced a tie atop the standings. Indiana gets the berth because they defeated New York over the weekend. So the final is set for July 1st between the Indiana Fever and the Minnesota Lynx. For the Fever, definitely the surprise of this berth. It's notable that they did it without Caitlin Clark for 2 or 3 of those 5 Commissioner's Cup games. She came back just in time to defeat the Liberty and to win against the Sun and secure the berth. She's been shooting the lights out from three-point range, has definitely looked more herself than I think earlier in the year, when she was clearly hampered by that quad injury. For the Minnesota Lynx, they advance as expected, even though it did take a final game. They defeated the Aces 76-62, came back from a deficit, and they will return for the second year in a row. That Lynx rally came with the help of Courtney Williams. She scored 18 of her 20 points in the second half. And this was notable because the Lynx lost Napheesa Collier to a back injury. She exited the game. Alana Smith helped pick up the slack, 10 points, 13 rebounds. Diamond Miller, a former lottery pick who hasn't seen a lot of time, also huge off the bench in that absence. She had 12 points and was 4 of 5 with 2 threes. Now, for the Lynx, this could be problematic going forward without what has become the very clear MVP favorite in Napheesa Collier. She does everything for them offensively, defensively, is the pivot point for everything that they want to do. And so there's going to have to be a lot of players who step up. Now, looking at this Commissioner's Cup matchup, this is huge for both teams, because the last 2 years we have seen that both Commissioner's Cup finalists are the finals matchup come October. First it was the Liberty and the Aces, then it was the Liberty and the Lynx. Now for the Lynx, maybe there's some good vibes on their side, because in those 2 matchups, the winner of that Commissioner's Cup game actually did not go on to win the finals. That has only happened once in the previous 4 iterations of the Commissioner's Cup. The finals are Tuesday, July 1st at 8 p.m. It'll be the first meeting of the year between the Lynx and the Fever. It's definitely a matchup you don't want to miss. Keep it here on Yahoo Sports for all of your WNBA updates.